Welcome to Pulse of Politics, your go-to source for in-depth political analysis on the most important global developments. Today, we're diving deep into former President Donald Trump's newly announced tariffs. What are they? Why now? And how will they shape the global economy? Let's get into it. The tariff announcement. On April 2nd, 2025, former U.S. President Donald Trump made a bold announcement regarding a sweeping tariff policy on imports to the United States. Key details of the tariffs. Heavy checkmark 10% tariff on all imported goods. A blanket tariff covering all imports from technology to consumer goods. Heavy checkmark higher tariffs on China, EU, and Japan. Special duties imposed on key trade partners accused of unfair trade practices. Heavy checkmark exemptions for select countries. Canada and Mexico received exemptions due to USMCA agreements. Heavy checkmark 25% tariff on auto imports. A major blow to international car manufacturers like Toyota and BMW. Trump's rationale? We need to protect American jobs and stop unfair trade deals. But is this a strategic move or a gamble that could disrupt the global economy? Why Trump is imposing tariffs? Donald Trump has always positioned himself as a protectionist leader, arguing that global trade deals harm American workers. His latest move is no different. His justification for these tariffs centers around reducing the U.S. trade deficit. Trump argues that the U.S. has been losing billions to other nations. Boosting American manufacturing. He wants businesses to relocate production to the U.S. Punishing China for unfair trade practices. Accusations include intellectual property theft and currency manipulation. But while Trump supporters hail this as a brilliant economic move, critics warn of serious economic retaliation from global markets. Global response. China, EU, and Japan react. These tariffs didn't go unnoticed. Major economic players have already voiced their opposition and prepared countermeasures. China's response. Pushpin Beijing has called Trump's move reckless and vowed to retaliate with higher tariffs on U.S. agricultural goods, impacting American farmers. Restrictions on U.S. tech companies like Apple and Microsoft. Increased alliances with other economies like Russia and the EU. The European Union's response. Pushpin the EU has announced it will challenge the tariffs at the World Trade Organization. Impose counter tariffs on American goods like bourbon and motorcycles. Strengthen trade agreements with Asian markets. Japan's response. Pushpin Tokyo has expressed deep disappointment and is exploring diplomatic solutions to avoid a trade war. With global superpowers gearing up for retaliation, could this lead to another U.S.-China trade war? Impact on global economy. So, what does this all mean for global markets and everyday consumers? Heavy checkmark stock markets react. Major indices plunged following the announcement, with Wall Street experiencing a 2% drop. Heavy checkmark inflation concerns. Higher import costs equals increased prices for consumers. Heavy checkmark U.S. companies worried. Many businesses depend on global supply chains, and tariffs could mean higher production costs. Economists warned that this move might backfire, with higher prices for American families and global supply chain disruptions. Historical context. Do tariffs work? To understand where this could lead, let's look at history. Heavy checkmark 1930s, the Great Depression and tariffs. The Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act worsened the economic collapse. Heavy checkmark 1980s, trade war with Japan. America imposed tariffs on Japanese cars, but Japan invested in U.S. factories to avoid penalties. Heavy checkmark 2018 to 2019, Trump's first trade war with China, ended with higher consumer prices and job losses in U.S. manufacturing. Will history repeat itself? Impact on American workers and consumers. Trump argues that these tariffs protect American jobs, but what's the reality? Red Circle American farmers. Already struggling from past trade wars, they fear retaliatory tariffs from China. Red Circle retailers and tech companies. Brands like Apple and Walmart warn that prices will rise significantly. Red Circle automakers. U.S. car manufacturers rely on international parts and could see production slowdowns. Many experts say that these tariffs hurt American consumers more than foreign competitors. What happens next? What's the next step in this evolving trade battle? Heavy check mark: would the U.S. and China negotiate a new deal? Heavy check mark: could the World Trade Organization intervene? Heavy check mark: how will these tariffs affect the 2024 U.S. presidential elections? In conclusion, heavy check mark: Trump's new tariffs have sparked global tensions. Heavy check mark: international markets are reacting negatively. Heavy check mark: everyday consumers may see higher prices. Heavy check mark: this could reshape U.S. and global economic policies. How do you feel about Trump's tariff policy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Pulse of Politics for more breaking political updates.